first respondent.
Mr. appearing alongside Mr. Smith and Mr. Eastman.
A second respondent.
Yes, my name is Latif. I'm present alongside Mr. Calisto for the second and fourth
Sent to respective emails. I have physical copies with me here. I've actually served that way upon Mr. Smith. I note that brought up arguments. Then your Honor can give a ruling date thereafter.
Yes. Are you appealing to explain why you have not supplied the defense?
File number 67 2025 Milano Secretary.
While in the custody of KWS officers in Lake Nakuru National Park, mysteriously disappeared from their custody. I'm saying this deliberately, Your Honor, because there's no explanation to it. Mysteriously disappeared from their custody. And to date, he has not been found. His whereabouts are not known. His wife and his mother moved the High Court for an application of habeas corpus. On the 6th of February 2025, the High Court, that is Justice Nangea, rendered a ruling to the effect that those who had been cited did not have the body or did not have Brian, so they could not possibly produce him. As the High Court further stated that it would not give any further directions on that issue and that the prosecution process continues. Because, Your Honor, for the record, there is an appeal that has been filed with respect to that ruling. We would wish not to get into it, otherwise we will fall for the matter being sub judice at that level. But, Your Honor, in a bid to get closure or an understanding as to where their kin is, they have again moved to this court because it is vested with the jurisdiction to carry out what we are asking it to carry out, a public inquiry that is pursuant to Section 385 of the Criminal Procedure Code. But this court has the jurisdiction to inquire into various issues, among them being that which is stated in Section 386(1), I believe that should be D, the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of an individual who may or may not be dead. You know, we filed this application and we came for directions before you, but we received responses. The theme that runs through the responses that we received from KWS, DPP, and the Honorable Attorney General is no. A private individual cannot move the court. That's all they are saying. A private individual cannot move the court for purposes of carrying out an inquest. Now, possibly that would be the only question that Your Honor may be asked to determine whether a private person can move the court for purposes of carrying out an inquest. Our answer to that question, Your Honor, is that yes, any person can move the court to ask the court to carry out an inquest on the preliminary. Your Honor, it has been suggested in the affidavits that the basis for saying no, it's only the DPP that can inform the court. In fact, the word they use is direct the court. For a moment I shuddered because I wondered what happens to judicial independence anyway when the word is that someone can direct the court. But be that as it may, that's what they say, that it's only the DPP that can direct the court to carry out an inquest. And the basis for that is that Section 388 of the CPC, for the record, that section states that the DPP may, because that is the word that is used. Interesting that Your Honor, I have to use this word again, which has become common in this country, may. So we say the DPP may direct the court. Colleagues forget that an inquest is a judicial function. It's a judicial function. That is number one. And number two, an inquest is an investigative role. So much so that the DPP will not be prosecuting anything pursuant to Article 157, but the DPP, like everyone else, would be informing the court of the need to conduct an inquest. The role is so peripheral, I wish to persuade the court to see it as such. It's so peripheral that even Section 3 should be 386 gives the role of informing even to a police officer. 386 also says an officer who becomes aware of all those that are listed there may also inform the court. Now we have a DPP who says it's only me who can inform the court, while 386 says even an officer can inform the court. But Your Honor, it doesn't even stop there. A reading of Article 22, 23 of the Constitution on enforcement of human rights. Now dealing with the question of locus standi. and the drafters of the Constitution being acutely aware of what the DPP is telling the court now, that it's only me who can inform, opened the window to everyone else who would want to approach the court for purposes of enforcement of a human right that is at risk of violation. So much so that then, here is Brian Odhiambo, who has disappeared, but here is a DPP who is strolling, perhaps waiting to be prompted, rather than he can swing into action. A responsible citizen in the name of Voco Africa, and an aggrieved wife in the name of Alvia Oko have said, let us go to court, because the courts anyway would have the final say on these issues. And so, Your Honor, we are not asking the court to direct the DPP to carry an inquest, because anyway they are saying the DPP is beyond direction. And they'll tell you that is what Article 157.10 says, that they cannot be directed. We're asking the DPP we're asking the court to take notice of the fact that Brian Odhiambo is lost or disappeared, and because the court has the jurisdiction to order for an inquest, direct that an inquest be carried into the disappearance of Brian Odhiambo. That order in no way directs the DPP to do anything. It's not a directive to the DPP. It's not a consent to the DPP. Your Honor, would also note that the wordings of Section 385 of the CPC use the operative word may. And this also goes to the discretion. I want to say power to conduct a public inquiry is both mandatory and discretionary. So that even if Your Honor would receive a directive, quote unquote, from the DPP to get into an inquest, the law still allows you to say, no, I will not do that. And this is us invoking the discretionary power of the court, say, information has been brought to me, I find this information necessary, and therefore I order that there be an inquest. Your Honor, perhaps two issues, then I invite my colleague to say a word or two. Number one, from the court to note that there are only two institutions in this country that have been mandated to carry out investigations. The DPP is not one of those institutions. It is the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, that is the DCI, and now the courts pursuant to Section 385. Not carrying out an investigation is preposterous, to say the least. Unless the DPP say, we are heavily invested in this, we don't want the court to carry out an inquest. Or for what other reason would the DPP be opposed to an inquest? The other thing I needed to let the court know is that in the affidavits they are saying an inquest cannot be carried out because we do not have a body. Now, that is, in my view, an outright misapprehension of the law, misapplication of the law. It will be for the court to determine, if the court allows our application to conduct an inquest, it will be for the court to determine whether Brian Odhiambo is dead or not, and the law would allow for presumption of death if it will be necessary. You will also be told by the prosecution, Your Honor, that they are seriously, the DCI is seriously conducting an investigation. They are aware, and I'm aware, because, Your Honor, I have participated in this process for the longest time, that on Friday, should have been the 20th of February, Your Honor, just so that they may look like they are doing something really concerning this disappearance. The affidavit that was sworn by a colleague from the DPP had said they had received a file. They are not telling the court that they have returned that file because they felt the investigations done were shoddy, for lack of a better term. They have returned that file to the DCI. I'm glad my friend is here, because I was with him on Friday then when he had asked me to help him. He is the deputy DCI, Nakuru East. He's here. I don't know why he did not swear an affidavit or if he has sworn in, but I was with him. He has again asked me to bring him. I was actually to bring him another witness. That's what they are doing, trying to patch up things. What they are not saying, Your Honor, in so many words is that we are not doing any investigation. We are buying time. That's what they are saying. They are buying time. DPP have said the investigations that you have done and forwarded a file to us do not look like anything we can act upon. Now, our question has been all along. The court is better placed to really inspire public confidence now that this is a matter of public interest. Why can't the court be moved to carry out an inquest? DPP tell us we must write to them so that they can write to the court. I think that is the highest level of responsibility anyone would. They're saying we know Brian is missing, but write to us to tell us to write to the court to carry an inquest. Your Honor, on the basis of those grounds, I'll invite my colleague to speak to the question addressed by KWS on whether this matter is res judicata or not. I'd wish to persuade the court to find that no reasons have been proffered save for things to catch on, straws, weak ones, and that you allow our application and direct that there be a public inquiry into the forced disappearance and possibly murder. We also cite the authority of 3 Macau Musau, Inquest 1 of 2022. 3 Macau Musau, Inquest 1 of 2022. 2024 KEMC 25 KLR. It's a 3rd June 2024 decision. In that decision, Your Honor, instructive paragraphs would be paragraph 10, 11, and 12 of that decision. Further, Your Honor, the other decision that may be of great assistance to the court and our colleagues is Waweru versus Republic. Criminal Revision E187 of 2023.